now that that's out of the way, why don't we show some awesome footage? You ready?
Let's go.
Awesome. All right, here we go. So why don't we talk about kind of like what we're seeing and what we can expect with like Armored Kill?
Yeah, what we're seeing now, what we just saw, there was the AC-130 gunship, which is one of the really cool features that is introduced in Armored Kill. It basically means that you need to capture one of the bases on this map. It is the kind of the tactical base that is in control of the AC-130, and once your team have that, this AC-130 will start circling the battlefield, and you can spawn into it and into the gunner positions, and also use it as a mobile spawn point. So if you have control over it, you can really start using the big cannon or the machine gun and try to suppress ground targets and really support the ground troops.
Cool.
A little bit of a dogfight. That's actually one thing that's really important. If your team has the AC-130, it's really, really important for the pilots to protect it, because it is vulnerable. It's it's a big target. It's not nimble in any way. It's just flying on its path. So it's really vulnerable to attacks from other enemy jets. So make sure your pilots know what they're doing. That one didn't.
Not everyone can do wrong. So I mean, obviously this DLC pack is more focused on vehicles. So kind of like tell people like what can they expect in terms of like the kind of vehicles that we can like. If someone who's like very vehicle heavy, like what can they expect and what can they really get out of this DLC pack?
Yeah, this is a very vehicle focused, epic, warfare, big map focused pack. We have introduced 5 vehicles that you can drive, and I think you just saw the Russian tank destroyer. The tank destroyer class is basically a lighter tank. It is a faster, nimble. Hey, we have actually from the American drive review. Striker tank, yeah. So it is based basically on an APC shell or an APC base. So it is quite fast. Not as armored, as the MBTs, but it's really fast. And it also has this huge, big gun. It has lots of firepower, lots of mobility, but what it lacks is armor. So this is one of those vehicles that you use mobility to.
Sounds like an American tank, something that has a huge, big gun.
Yeah.
Not a lot of armor, but a big gun.
Yeah, just cool. Drive in there and shoot big guns.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, doom bashing.
Very cool. So you can get one of your friends to get on the back and do some shooting while you drive around.
Yeah, we have the ATV. For anyone who played Bad Company 2, they might know the ATV, the quad bike, which also allows your friend to hop on the back and support you while you're driving.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
So now that we kind of like seen the B-roll, I'm going to let it keep on replaying while we're going through our community questions, so people can get a chance to continuously see this awesome footage that they'll be able to play later on down the road. But why don't we kick it over and start answering some community questions? Because I know people are probably really excited about hearing what you have to say about the game and what went into this awesome pack.
Sure.
Cool. So why don't we? I'll kick us back up on the screen so people can see you as well, so they're not just looking at the awesome game, but they can still see in all of its glory. So why don't we go ahead and start looking at some of the questions and start answering them. So, all right, here we go. From our first question from our community, from Chandler, will there be any new abilities for the vehicles?
The vehicles that we introduce in Overkill will have a career of unlocks that you can gain. We're not talking about the details about that yet, but vehicle fans, they really have something to look forward to when it comes to unlocking new stuff for the vehicles.
Sweet. So here's one from Bad Creed. He says, how does the AC-130 work?
Yeah, it's like I mentioned before, where you have this base that is in control of the AC-130, and when you capture that base, your team gets access to the mobile spawn point, but basically you just paradrop out of the AC-130, or the gunner positions, like the autocannon and the big cannon. So that base is really important to keep and to protect.
Of course, I would want to keep it personally if I was playing. So Guest here has a question. What a great name, Guest.
Yeah. Why not?
Guest is asking, will Armored Kill feature any cinematic events such as the tower falling on Caspian Border conquest?
I think people will see some cool stuff on the maps.
Oh yeah? Here, you want to kind of maybe down the road explain some of that?
I'll leave them to experience the
Okay, all right. So we can expect some cool stuff, everybody, but want everyone to experience it themselves.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So here's one from Cerebro 680. Which aircrafts will be featured in Armored Kill? I know you talked about some earlier, but maybe we can go over all the aircrafts we can see.
Yeah, since it is a big map-focused pack, there will be lots of aircraft, and the new aircraft we are introducing is the AC-130, as I mentioned before. And again, it's really it brings something new to the air gameplay, where the pilots really have a new objective, to keep control of, and that is protecting the AC-130, so that it can do its mission in strafing runs to suppress the enemy team.
Awesome. And so, obviously, because this is a big vehicle-focused pack, this question kind of makes a lot of sense, and it's from Sun. And he asked, will we see any additional anti-vehicle weapons for infantry?
What we have, the focus of the pack is the vehicle. So, while the infantry retain their standard arsenal, the javelins and the rocket launchers,
Exactly.
you do have the tank destroyers, for example.
Yeah.
And the mobile artillery, and they're both very, very powerful, when it comes to their weapons, but they are vulnerable defensively. So that brings something really, new when it comes to the anti-vehicle, aspect of the game.
Cool. Yeah, for the people who maybe, like me, are not very good about piloting vehicles, so I kind of want to stay on the ground and shoot them out of the air, because if you get me in one of these jets, it's bad news. How are you? Are you a good pilot? Are you more of a gunner?
I'm a decent pilot, I would say. I mean, if I go up in a dogfight versus someone who is a really good pilot, I get shot. Okay. But I don't crash into the mountains. I'm okay.
I'd be crashing into the mountains. It's pretty bad. All right, so here's our next question for Neil Popovich, and he asked, can you give any details about the new game modes that comes with Armored Kill?
We are introducing a new game mode called Tank Superiority, but that's also something that we we leave the details for later. So we're just announcing it at E3, so people know that this is a pretty meaty package. But unfortunately, the details have to wait.
Oh, another one of those. They gotta wait, but I'm sure they're good.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're good. So from Ghost Leader here, he has a question about vehicle unlocks, and he asks, do new vehicle unlocks apply to old vehicles as well?
Well, the vehicles have individual careers, so the unlocks that you get for a certain vehicle are tied to that vehicle. So it is kind of the way that we design the vehicle careers in Battlefield in general. When you use the vehicle and you get score with it, you spend your time and your efforts, that's when you get new cool stuff for it. So that's kind of the rules for Battlefield, and it applies to Armored Kill as well.
Cool. And so why don't we go ahead and ask or answer another question about this one's kind of interesting, and I think it involves something we were talking about earlier. This is from Kent, and he asks, what kind of defenses can we expect on the AC-130 since it will be not piloted by a player?
Yeah, the two positions on the AC-130, the gunner positions, the people who are manning the cannons,
exactly.
They have the option to actually deploy flares should they be locked down by some anti-air weaponry, and they also can jump into a 360 gun turret, an anti-air turret.
Okay.
So they can, should the air threats become too many, they can stop temporarily, suppressing the ground and start defending the airspace.
Sounds good.
Yeah, which is really useful should the pilots, fail that job.
Exactly. So, we've been showing off this B-roll for this, rather large-looking map, and our actual community member here from BFM66 asks, is this the biggest map in Battlefield history?
It is. This map you're seeing here is called Bandar Desert, and it is the biggest map in history. It's actually quite funny because we've done some really big maps in the past.
Yeah.
We really wanted to make sure that we made the biggest one. So we've been talking to the level guys and just they measured and make sure the areas were basically
the electrical tape measure.
Just so we're sure that this is actually the biggest one. So.
Okay, nice. So obviously, in a map where there's tons of vehicles, you have to have a rather large map, anyways.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Awesome. So this next question actually segues into talking about the largest map in history, how many maps are in the Armor Kill pack?
There are 4 maps in the pack, and they're all really big. This is the biggest one, Bandar Desert,
Okay.
but the other ones, they're not tiny in any way, so I think...
And we gotta rank them. It's like the biggest map in history, the second biggest map in history, third biggest map. But that's really cool. So, so why don't we ask? We've been getting a lot of questions about the AC-130. So why don't we go ahead and answer another one? The question is: does spawn on AC-30 mean we'll be able to parachute out onto the ground?
Yes, it does. The thing is that the parachute spawn on the AC-130 is always available when you have it. I mean, even if the gun positions are occupied and there's no space left in the vehicle, you can still use the paradrop spawn.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah, so it's really a good tactical option. If the AC-130, for example, is positioned above one of the most contested areas, then it's really good to just spawn in there, go down, help out the guys, and take whatever base it's under fire.
Cool. So we've been talking mostly about this map here, which again is the largest map in Battlefield history. But here is a question about from Kuriz, who's asking, what are the other maps like? So what can we expect from the other 3 maps?
You can expect some really large, epic maps, as we mentioned, and also some really nice, diverse environments. This is the desert map, Bandar Desert, but we're offering some cool themes on the maps, on the other maps as well. So there's stuff to look forward to.
Very cool. So we talked about infantry weapons earlier, but Dr. Rio wants to know: will there be any new infantry weapons, or are you only adding vehicles?
This is a vehicle-focused pack, so we're focusing on them. As mentioned before, there will be lots of new, cool, weapons to use, but they're vehicle-based. So.
Okay. So there's another question about maps. We're kind of got a lot about those. So how about we answer one here from Orc01, who asks, how will the mobile artillery defend itself?
Yeah, that's actually one of the really interesting things with mobile artillery, because it is a very, very vulnerable vehicle. Because you can get into it, you can drive it up to a good firing position and start away. And one thing that's important when it comes to a powerful weapon like that can shoot some really high damage fire from far away is that we balance it. Mm-hmm. So the big thing about the mobile artillery is good positioning, because you don't have any really good ways of defending yourself. So either work with a friend, with a squad mate who can defend yourself with other vehicles, or make sure that your positioning is perfect. So that's going to be the challenge for the artillery players, and I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. So speaking of artillery, here's another question from Boogeyman. Very scary. The question is the mobile artillery dumb-fired, or does it use some target designation from something like SOFLOP?
We're still, fiddling with exactly how to work with that, but the idea is to not make it like just point-and-click weapon, because that would be kind of boring, and it also could potentially be really overpowered. So we want to really avoid that and make it so that it's challenging but rewarding, when you're firing.
That sounds good. So here's another question about the AC-130, very popular today, from Ari. Ari! What happens when the AC-130 gets destroyed?
When it gets destroyed, it will respawn like a normal vehicle.
Okay.
But the problem is, if you have lost the base, then it will respawn for the other team.
Oh my god.
That's bad.
So basically, you want to keep it alive, otherwise the other base might get recaptured and then you lose it. Oh
exactly.
no. So don't let it get destroyed, everybody. So so here's a question from Ganja Warrior. And he asks, what height ceilings will there be in the large armored kill maps?
The height ceilings will be pretty high, so that we enable lots of cool dogfighting. So, if you're one of those pilots who really like to go at it versus the other pilots, you will have lots of nice airspace to do so.
So is this in like a Green Lantern movie where he flew so high in the air?
Yeah, just go to the moon and do that thing.
Okay. That scene in Green Lantern was so funny. Cool. So let me actually we've been answering a lot of questions here, but I was talking to you earlier about what you've been seeing at E3 and what you've been playing lately, and I think some of our people always like to hear what our actual developers on the games are doing. So actually, what have you been playing recently that you're like super into? That you're like when you get home from work, you're like, man, I can't wait to play something.
I've been playing a lot of Diablo 3.
Of course, what class are you?
Yeah, I'm a demon hunter and
That's
barbarian.
what I am, a demon hunter.
I'm kind of trying to figure out where to go with if I should go try to push the barbarian to Inferno, but I've heard they're difficult at Inferno, so
yeah. How far are you? How what's your level in the demon hunter? You kind of high up there?
Yeah, I'm a 54, so
oh my
I'm approaching
God.
60.
Okay, you're way higher than me. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So anything else that you've been playing? Any console games or any cool shooters or anything like that?
I'm playing Battlefield, of course. That's my game.
Well, of course.
So
who isn't playing Battlefield?
I hope everyone likes it. So.
Oh, everyone loves it.
So of course Battlefield. But I'm a pretty when I find a game that I like, I tend to commit pretty big. I used to be an esport kind of clan player before, so I'm kind of
okay.
When I find something,
super into it. Cool. So while we were talking about what games we've been playing, we got another question here from Tucci Tug. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say that. I can't do it. So the question is, how many people can take the AC-130?
It has two gunner positions. It's the 25mm autocannon and the big ball force, I think it's 120mm. I don't remember. Big cannon.
Yeah.
So there's two positions available, but they have, as I mentioned before, the paradrop position available at all times. So it's not a position on the vehicle, but it's always available to spawn on. So you can kind of say 2.5.
Cool. And I know we're talking a lot about the Armor Kill pack, but I just want to remind everybody that Battlefield Premium is one of the big things that we announced at E3. And just so you know, you can actually go out on Origin right now and get yourself Battlefield Premium. And in fact, we're actually doing two really cool bundles right now on Origin for North America that are really cool that you should check out if you want to get Battlefield Premium. And so why don't you kind of like give people who are watching like an overview of Battlefield Premium and the kind of value you get for getting something like Battlefield Premium.
Yeah, it's the first time that we have really tried to make this really extensive and content-rich post-launch campaign. We're launching this. We talked about what we should do to really give value, and we came up with this idea to do really themed expansion packs. So we're releasing 5 pretty big packs throughout this year, in order to allow people to feel like Battlefield is alive and we're getting new stuff to experience.
Of course.
And we're charging the $15 kind of standard price for the DLC, but we know that there are lots of fans who really want to get all of these. So why don't we just bundle them? Make a big bundle, big discount, and get some really extra stuff in there so that you can feel like a premium member.
Exactly.
So you get a cool knife, some cool dog tags. You get some nice features. One of my favorite features is you can reset your KD ratio should you not be pleased with your early performance.
That would be me.
On Battlelog.
Yeah. When you start off, you don't know what class is good for you. And
you start off and you go, oh, how did this gun work? And oh shit, I died again.
Exactly. And then once you know the maps really well and you start getting really good, that's cool. So you can reset it and then get really good, and then people think you're not as crappy as you appear to be.
Yeah, if you're competitive like me, that's a good feature.
That's very cool.
So
and it seems like if you're a hardcore fan of Battlefield and you really want to get all the latest and best content right away, it seems like Premium is like a really good way to go.
Yeah, it is a bundle where you get everything plus more, and you get early access as well. So it's one of those things that we just, if you're a Battlefield fan and you want the stuff that we're doing, if you want to keep playing Battlefield, this is just...
It's perfect for me, too, because I have a bad memory, so I forget when things come out, and so I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta buy that new pack. I don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, it's just...
It's all there.
Download, early access.
It's so easy. I love it. So, while we're talking about Premium, we actually got a couple more questions. Here's one from More Like Bro Motion. Okay. All right.
right.
That question, more like Bro Motion wants to know. Close Quarters was all about small maps. Armor Kill is all about big vehicle maps. What's next for Battlefield 3? What can we expect?
Yeah, we announced it actually at E3. Upcoming is Aftermath and Endgame.
Oh, cool.
And you know, we're not talking about the details, but Aftermath is a post-earthquake in Tehran focus pack, and Endgame is actually introducing motorcycles.
Oh,
so
man,
cool stuff to look forward to.
Nice. Whenever I think of motorcycles, I just picture Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with Sean Connery,
Yeah,
little thing. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, why don't you? We have a few more questions, but we'll take a couple more, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. I know people have been getting to see this awesome footage while we've been talking, but so one of our last questions is from Cat Lord, and Cat Lord asked, how much does fan feedback factor into DICE's design decisions? So do you listen to your community a lot? When you're
Yeah, that's. I mean, we have so many fans, and we have so many, really passionate people who just, feedback and give, both critique and suggestions and everything. And I mean, we're always going through that. And I mean, it's the most important thing to make sure that we do something that we know people want. So it's essential to factor into what we do.
Exactly. Yeah, I know that, with a community like Battlefield, they're super into it, and it's really cool to hear that you listen to what they say and make sure that, anything that they talk about that they want to have in the game, that you can make sure that you kind of tailor your stuff for them. So that's really cool to hear. Cool. So, I think we're almost done with our questions. I know we spent a lot of time, getting to find out more about Armor Kill and getting to see the footage. And so I just want to remind everybody that we have our Origin 25% off discount code that you can use on any purchases you make, just to redeem it when you get a game in your checkout cart. And if you look on the chat page that's playing right now, you can see a link that'll tell you all the games that are eligible. And also remember to get Battlefield Premium. We were talking about how getting Battlefield Premium is a great way to get every single DLC pack that's coming out in the future. You get early access, you get new dog tags, you get new content. Great deal. Definitely want to check that out. And do you have any closing words for the community about either Armor Kill or any of the upcoming Battlefield packs?
I just, hope they like Close Quarters. It's out now, for premium members of PS3.
Of course, yeah, definitely get Close Quarters as well.
Yeah, I got some tweets that they seem to like it, so
that's good.
I hope more people hop in.
Great. Thank you so much for coming out and chatting with us here at E3.